What's up YouTube? This is Double H's Automotive. Today we will be doing a rear disc conversion on a 95 to 2001 Honda CR-V. Or in the States, it's 97 to 2001. In order to do this swap, you'll need the rear brake rotors, calipers, and brake pads from a 97 to 2001 Honda Prelude. You also need the ebrake cables off a 94 to 97 Honda Accord that are at least 70 inches long to be able to do this conversion. Now, when you do start this process, you are going to want to put your car into park, or first, if your CR-V is a manual, because you will want the e-brake off, so when you go to try to pull the drum and all the assembly off, you can easily do it. Once you have your wheel taken off, you will want to get a 32mm axle nut socket to be able to remove this. It is easier to do it when it's on the ground, but considering these are the center caps for these will not come out, I'm going to put the e-brake on just to where I will be able to break this loose and be able to pull it all out once the e-brake is back off. You will want to take a flathead and knock this little notch that they are smacked in out, so you will be able to take it off easily. It'll be also easier if you spray with WD-40, but I do not have any at the time, so hopefully it will break loose. So one of the difficulties you may find is the axle nut not wanting to come loose even after you PB blast it. You smack up the little notch. If you can't get that, put the wheel on, take the hubcap out, because I eventually got it to where I could actually take it out, and place the CR-V back on the ground and then break it loose, because the e-brake wouldn't hold it hard enough to where I could actually do it. So now that you got the axle nut off, you will want to take, I think they're 12mm bolts, and thread them into here with the e-brake off, be able to pop the drum off. So once you have these first hand threaded in, you should be able to ratchet them in, and these will pop off. But make sure you do them evenly so it will come off and not get caught on the ring, like the hub centric ring. It's not a hub centric ring, it's just a ring, or a hub. I'm dumb. Now, once it's off, you should be able to slide it off, and these are worn out. You will want to unthread these 12mm bolts so you can use them for the other side. Now that you get to this point, you will be wanting to take off all of the actual hub for the actual drum setup, including, once you get this completely unbolted, the actual back cover. So once you have that all off, you will remove these 14mm bolts. They're about this long, but they will break. So spray them down first, or you'll end up like this. It has now become dark. Now, since you will not be reusing this e-brake cable, I went ahead and broke off the plastic clips that hold it into this actual back facing. For several hours, obviously now that it's nighttime, I finally have the old hub and spindle off, or not spindle, hub and bearing off. It took the 14mm bolt to be able to move this to where I was able to get around everything sufficiently. We had to recreate this line anyways, so it went ahead and broke off. It took literally no effort. Now the complicated part is going to be coming down to these 17mm bolts that actually, there's 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, which actually are behind the backing plate, or the caliper plate. There's one right here, there's one right here. There's one right here. Those are very difficult to get to if you do not want to take apart anything. I'm also going to put in this video of me cutting or drilling this out, because I went to take this off to where I could just pull the axle out and everything, and it broke off within literally 0.5 seconds. I didn't put any effort into it and it already snapped. It's a typical Honda thing. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off or drill it out. I'm not really sure which I'm going to do. I'm going to probably try to drill it out so I don't have to replace the whole control arm. But yeah, this is what it looks like once you get the new hub or the new bearing in, and then once you put the bracket on, you're supposed to use a little bit longer bolts, which I did buy. They're supposed to be 20mm, but these are not 20mm. I end up accidentally getting 25, so they're a little bit too long, so I end up just using blue Loctite and the original bolts. They're a little bit short, but it sufficiently went to 40 foot-pounds of torque without any problem. But yeah, I will show you guys tomorrow once it's daylight how to fish in the e-brake cable, and I'll show you the assembly of the spindle, which I still have to beat out of the whole old bearing. I have to beat this out, and just the assembly process after this. It's pretty much fully disassembled. I'm gonna have to make a new brake line, which I bought a shit ton of, which I'm also going to show in this video how to get rid of all the ABS stuff and convert it over to a Civic non-ABS proportioning valve, so you have to not worry about your ABS. It'll just be a non-ABS proportioning valve, and it'll should break just like a Civic. What's going on, guys? So it's the next day. I finally got everything mounted, caliper and wheel bearing wise. I did not show a lot of process because this one was a little bit difficult. I will be showing the other side, the passenger side, more in detail, but this is how it will look once it is mounted. I have cleared everything in the back. Now I did use M10 by 1.25 volts. I got 30mm length, and they were a little bit too long for the caliper, so I trimmed them down with a cutting wheel and made them fit. But everything seems to be fitting fine. Now the only thing that I have left to figure out really is which e-brake cable goes to which side, because as you guys know, on the 94 to 97 Honda Accord, the e-brake cable lengths are not the same. One is 70mm and the other one are 70 inches, and the other one is 73 inches. After that, it's just figuring out which was which. So on the third day, I did not do a lot of recording, and the main reason is I was just trying to get shit knocked out because I've been waiting on parts, and I'm still going to be waiting on parts before this video comes out, because I was wanting to do the front brakes as well. But when I ordered the front brakes, the actual brake pads did not come, only the rotors did, and they said that they got lost in shipping, so they said that they're going to send me another set, which are coming from Ontario, which, if you guys don't know where that's at, that's in Canada. But as what I've got done within the past couple of days is this. So yes, it does not look like much, but this has been the biggest pain in the dick ever. So I got the actual bracket from Greg Rawls mounted onto the new wheel bearing. I have the driver's side e-brake cable ran, and it's actually ran inside of the e-brake already. And then I'm waiting on an OEM Honda part from Honda, because no auto parts stores or any local supplier carries it. But oh god, this exposure is bad. I'm working in the middle of the night too, by the way. This right here is not just a typical fitting that you would find. It is specifically for a banjo bolt, and you cannot find them anywhere unless you want to order them online or go directly to a Honda dealership, which I chose to go directly to a Honda dealership. Yes, it was probably more expensive that way, but they could get it within, they could priority it pretty much. So I have all this side ran, and what I also have ran, there's the driver's side e-brake cable. What I also got done today was I got the ABS module, or control module, removed, along with all the wires unplugged and stuff, and I got the non-ABS proportioning valve out of the way, which I have routed the new proportioning valve, which is the non-ABS. And if I said ABS or non-ABS the first time, I meant ABS proportioning valve. I have rounded it. I kind of semi-tucked it. It's just behind, down under the motor, like behind the motor now, to where it's out of the way, to where it's not just sitting on the engine bay wall. But pretty much the only thing that really left is I'm waiting on the banjo bolt. I have the rear lines to where they're actually specifically made for the banjo bolt, so that wasn't a problem. I got them directly from an auto parts store, but the only way to actually get the banjo bolts was to either order new calipers through an auto parts store and get them from there, which that means I'd have 2 sets of calipers, or I could just order them through a Honda supplier, or I could have found them online probably somewhere, but I did not choose to wait through the Honda or the online source. I just went directly to a Honda dealership and had them order it, and they're prioritizing it to their dealership, which is not even 10 minutes away. So I'm gonna have more content for you guys tomorrow. Today I really didn't have a lot because I was just trying to bust some shit out so I could get a video up for you guys, because I know I said I was posting it like a week ago, but shit happens and I waited on parts and I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. So I'm trying to just hurry up and get it knocked out for you guys so you guys can see the results for yourself. What's going on, guys? Next day here, and I went and bought the union for it, which is right there. So I added another piece of line, which went over to the actual non-ABS proportioning valve, which was this one. Yes, it does look like it's kind of a pain in the dick to reach it, but honestly it's not too hard, and it's down out of the way now. Yes, I could have done better. Yes, I could have tucked it probably up under like where the shifter cables are at, but I did not feel like taking all the time to do that. I just did a quick little easy tuck, and now I'm waiting until Saturday to be able to actually have the banjo bolts. But for now I'll be able to start on the other side, where I can actually show you more thoroughly after I've already done it once on how to do the rear disc conversion. So for shits and giggles, until my parts get here, this is what it will look like once it's all fully set. These are the easiest pads to put in, by the way. They're even easier than the front ones on this, which are also disc. Yeah, so pretty much this is the hard line I made to go to the soft line for the original Honda Prelude, which will go right here. Yes, there's a bend. Yes, a lot of people don't like it because now it's all the way down there, but I didn't want to order a line, and because it was going to cost me probably 60-70 bucks to have it, and I picked these up for $5 a piece, so it really wasn't that expensive. The only thing that's left is I got to get a bolt and nut. There's actually supposed to be a pin with a cotter pin through the bottom, which they didn't send those. Instead they sent these things, or they're just little bolts that, don't get me wrong, hold on, they fit in there, but they did not send nuts for it. So I may just take this bolt to the store and see if I can find a nut for it, because if so, then I wouldn't have to get a bunch of extra bullshit. So yeah, that's pretty much it as of right now. So if you guys would like to do this on your own and you need anybody to contact for stuff, Greg Rawls, and I will mention the other dude's name when I figure it out because it's on the paper, but I cannot remember what the hell his name is for the life of me. He makes hydraulics lines, so you don't have to use OEM stuff, do a hard line. So yeah, I will list all that information once I get through everything, but this is how it looks as of right now. It's gonna look pretty dope, and it's not just for the look standpoint. It is performance. Like, as I said, this will better your braking in all aspects, just like in daily driving. If you want to actually autocross, I don't know why you would want to autocross a CRV, but if you wanted to autocross it, you could. What's up, guys? I just got the banjo bolts from the Honda dealership, which here is the part number so you guys can see what it is. It's the one that goes into the actual caliper, which some calipers come with it, but yet again mine didn't. So today I'm going to be walking you guys through the passenger side of the rear disc brake swap. Once again, what you guys will need is the rear caliper bracket from Greg Rawls. I painted mine and they got beat up already, so, but it's not that big of a deal. You need the rotors, the caliper itself, and the brake pads from a 98 Honda Prelude. I'm pretty sure it's 97 to 2001, just like a CRV. And then you also need a ebrake cable from a 94 to 97 Honda Accord that has the rear disc brakes. I'm not exactly sure if I have the ebrake cable set up right. I'll let you guys know. I put the 73-inch cable on the driver's side just because it looked like it seemed like it was a little bit longer. So we'll see. You guys are walking through this just like I am. Last time I did it, I didn't put the ebrake cables on, so the ebrake cables is kind of just a guessing game for me. But yeah, I'll show you guys. Actually, I was wrong. I forgot on this. I have to actually take the wheel off to get the center cap off, because if not, it doesn't want to come off, and I really do not feel like breaking the center cap. Now, like I said, you'll want your e-brake off to where when you put these 12mm bolts in, it will freely pop off, because if not, your e-brake will expand the shoes and will not allow it to come off. Once again, I went to break off that 10mm, or the 10 I was talking about. Make sure you have a line wrench. If not, you'll strip it out and it'll be a pain to get off. Once again, brake line completely just broke. So we're replacing this line anyways, because when we go to put the banjo bolt on, it will be changed, and that'll be pretty much just all new. So I lied. You have to take off the actual brake shoes and all of the other little springs that are attached to it to be able to get to the e-brake cable to actually pull it out of this back facing. So once you get this assembly loose, as in the brake pads, I removed one of the springs. I don't know where it went. The retaining clips and the e-brake adjuster. This is supposed to adjust the shoes when you pull up the e-brake, so it has the right amount of adjustment. Once you get to this point, since we are already replacing the e-brake cable, you can go ahead and just break off these clips that actually hold it into this back facing. Unless you want to actually save the back spacing and have everything as just like a spare to back up to put back on, then just take it out the correct way. Now, once you have the e-brake cable out, it'll look something like this. There'll be holes, and then all of this can slide back down to where it is out of your way. Now, the only thing that is left is the 3 17mm bolts on the back of this. So, I've been working on this for probably about 20 minutes now. I finally got them all loose with a 1/2 inch breaker bar and a 17mm. Make sure it's 1/2 inch because you'll snap 3/8 straight off. And I'm saying this as hand tool wise. I have not done any of this with a actual pneumatic gun. So if you say that you can't do it when you're at home, you can. I promise you can. The only thing that's left is I'm going to finish them off with the 3/8 because they are broken loose now. Now, once you are done taking out all 3 17mm, you should be able to smack the top of the hub and the bottom of the hub and just wiggle it out. And if not, use a flathead or a chisel. I do not have a chisel, so I'm using a flathead to wedge it in between the actual hub and the trailing arm to actually pop it off. And there it is. Yes, this will be very corroded. So make sure you take a wire brush or a piece of maybe even Scotch-Brite to actually smooth it out. Make sure it's clean, and you could even put anti-seize right here. So once you have the hub out, you're going to want something to prop it up on this back facing because it will not separate unless you do this. Yes, you can cut this off if you're not wanting to change the wheel bearing, which I went ahead and replaced both wheel bearings while I was at it because I already had it apart. Then once you have your propane torch lit, just go around the center of the hub to try to make the metal expand to where you will be able to hammer it out. Make sure it's good and hot so you can hammer it out, and it will be with ease. And don't get me wrong, sometimes, like the other side, it was not easy to do it at all, whatsoever. Just go slowly around the bearing to make sure every place is well heated. Okay, now I'm going to use my 32mm socket, put it on top of here, and start smacking. You may have to, I have to fix my bricks because I use bricks, which is not usually the smartest thing. And it is out. Now, once you have your hub out of your bearing, the inner race is still going to be attached. I'm going to use a cutting wheel to actually barely graze it to where it will actually split, to where I can use my flathead and separate it to where it can come off. So a recap on what I did while I was not recording was I got the hub hammered into the wheel bearing. Yes, I know you're not really supposed to hammer them in. You could damage the bearing by that, but this is the only way I could do it as of right now, and it successfully went all the way through. This is what it will look like once you're in. I just had the axle nut just sitting there. It will go all the way in. I already have his Greg Rawls bracket mounted, and I already have the ebrake cable actually completely out, which this is not very hard either. All it is two 12mm bolts up front. You obviously have to take the cover off, which is 2 Phillip heads, and you slide it forward up over the ebrake handle. Then once you're done with that, it's like I said, there's 2 12mm bolts. Those hold the lines on, or the actual cables on. Then you push back the adjustment, unscrew the actual nut that's on there, which will make the cables loose. And then once you do that, you can slide the actual cable up and out of the handle, like the actual bracket, and then undo all the little miscellaneous 12mm bolts that hold it along the body and onto the control arm, or the trailing arm. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now I'm getting ready to put the new one on. So once you guys get to this point, you want to take the caliper off the actual bracket and make sure you have the disc or a piece of wood or something that is solid, to where when you go to bleed the brakes, you can bleed them without compressing it, because then you're going to have to take your brake pads out and decompress it with the actual caliper tool. So when you go to do this, just make sure you have something in there, because you're going to regret it. And also, you want to start with the passenger rear side, and then go to the driver front, and then go to the driver rear, and then now once you're done bleeding it, you'll put it back on just as normal. Just make sure, as I said, you don't hit the brakes between them, because if you do, you will have to take the brake pads out and decompress the caliper, which is time consuming. And yeah, you could do it, but you have to do it also when it's up like this. You cannot do it when it's facing down, because then the air will be trapped into the top of the... So sorry for the bad hairdo, but I will show you guys now how, I guess it won't be really a great comparison, because a lot of people will be going over 55, 60 mile an hour. So the first one I'll show you guys, it's me going 40, and I'll admit that I had stopped way sooner than what I thought it was. I thought it was going to slide more, and it did not. And then the second one, it's a short distance, me coming up to 35 and just trying to stop as efficiently as I can without like trying to chalk up the tires, which I still do, but it's not that bad. Well, that does it for this video. Show me, or tell me in the comments if you guys want me to do anything else to this, if you guys want to see anything else. I can do about anything I want to this car, and it really wouldn't affect it, because it is a really good running and driving car. I'll do anything really. It really doesn't matter. Just give me ideas of what I should do next. I do plan on turboing it. I'll probably put a poll or something on Facebook to either stay B20 or do an LSV, or even go full GSR. And I also have a single cam block and crank that is good, that I may be doing a full another single cam build. Let me know if you guys would like to see that, because I surely would. I enjoy building single cams, and I feel like it'd be really fun. So yeah, I'll catch you guys.